the more and more data centers that are built, the energy requirements are massive. We know that the big hyperscalers are looking at, do I put a nuclear reactor next to my data centers? So there are some massive energy issues. The issue is FHE is amazing, but it's only amazing if you can make it fast enough. In our lab, we've basically proven the technology that we need for that final version.
Welcome to The Growth Switch, the podcast where we explore the strategies, struggles, and breakthroughs of bold business leaders. I'm your host, Jules Fox, growth strategist and lead content creator at Aries Media. I'm here to uncover how today's top brands are scaling, overcoming challenges, and unlocking sustainable success. Now, for those of you just tuning in, Aries Media helps grow successful brands like yours with comprehensive hands-on support for sales, business development, and performance marketing. Go ahead and drop growth into the comments if you want to learn how to do that. Today, super excited, we have Stuart Mellis on The Growth Switch. He's the CFO of Optalysys. He's a seasoned financial leader who's helped scale early stage and SME businesses by aligning operational clarity with bold innovation, even when stepping into roles with the words, "We're in a mess." He's got a massive launch coming up. Can't wait to hear more about it. Stuart, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jules, nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, gosh, of course. Absolutely. Nice to have you. So, I do want to know how a person with your type of experience and expertise got into your role, especially hearing that, you may have had some early issues with some of your teachers in school.
Well, yeah, let's just turn that around slightly. So my first job after leaving university was actually a teacher. So yeah. I spent 3 years teaching maths in a part of the UK called Doncaster, which people will have different views around. And I did that for 3 years. Taught me loads of stuff, how to present things, how to explain difficult concepts to people who were struggling to understand. But after 3 years, I saw how hard people worked in that job. And I saw people in the staff room who had been doing it for 15 years and hated it. And they were the kind of people that could kind of suck out the energy and the fun from the room. And I was like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that person. So yeah. I got out, trained as an accountant, and really started working with businesses that were growing. They were, different businesses, different sectors, but they all had the same. They were all expanding or changing or moving or doing something different, listing it, raising money, whatever. And so I was able to work advising businesses like that for about 9 years. And then I really got to the point when I was like, I stay in this firm of accountants forever. And, that was fine, could do that. Or I get out and kind of get my hands dirty and get involved in running a business. So I made a move first to a big UK retailer that was called Summerfield Stores. It was a 4 billion turnover business, and helped them. They'd become private equity owned. So it helped them really sort the business out, get it really ready for sale, and then actually sell the business to a competitor. And so great experience, and really got loads of different experience in different areas, different transactions, different systems and controls. But then after that, I was like, well, actually, I want to be a bit more hands-on. I want to know that if I make a decision, I can see the results of it. When you're in a 4 billion turnover business, it's quite hard to kind of join up your actions to the P&L. So I really then started working with SME businesses. My first business was a high-end cycling distributor. So I used to employ guys who effectively would almost work for nothing because they got free kit to ride on their bikes or new wheels or whatever, and really helped a business grow and do various kind of corporate transactions. And then I got into technology, and I've done a variety of technology roles because technology is great. You're kind of creating something that wasn't there before, and you're actually changing how something works. Mm-hmm. Ad tech, and I did various property services. I even worked in a charity for a little while, but then I got into semiconductors. So my first role was with a semiconductor business in Bristol called Exmos, and I helped them really get ready for exit, go through a growth phase, putting ERP system, and really get that business ready for external acquirers to be interested to purchase. Yeah. So worked there for 4 years, and then the guys at Optalysys came and knocked on my door. So Optalysys is historically a photonics business. So basically, it came out of a PhD out of Cambridge University about 25 years ago. So the business's CEO, Nick New, he was working with light and basically using light's properties to solve problems. And so if you come to Leeds and you come into our boardroom, you'll see bits of kits that have been built for particular challenges. So usually the value of light is that you can process data very, very quickly, quicker than you can using electronics. And that's really and with very little energy used. So there's a massive potential. And so Nick and Rob, our CTO, they really spent 15 plus years with a technology trying to find a market, various kind of grants, various kind of proof of concepts. And then at around about 2019, 2020, they realized that rather than building these kits, taking light into a semiconductor chip would be really interesting, because it then becomes something you can scale, and it means you get the properties of light in a semiconductor, which is really interesting. And then they found this technology called Fully Homomorphic Encryption, which is a bit of a mouthful, so we say FHE. And what FHE is a advanced cryptographic method of encrypting data. So encryption is everywhere. We don't see it, but when you make a bank transfer or you send an email, that data is being encrypted as it travels from A to B, or if it's sat on your hard drive. What FHE does, it enables you to process the data. So you may have a big database and you say, tell me how many times does this mobile number come up? You can run that in an encrypted way, and so you never expose the data, which is amazing, because basically if you can do that, then you will never, ever be hacked. Your data will never be stolen because it's always in an encrypted form, which is amazing, but it's really slow. So if you want to run a process under encrypted FHE data, it's 1 million times slower than running the same process on plain text. So the issue is FHE is amazing, but it's only amazing if you can make it fast enough. And so what Optalysys is committed to doing is to building a solution that's based on light to make it fast enough. And that solution is 3 years off, and it will take us to a speed that nobody else in the world can process that data.
I mean, the speed of light is known for being incredibly fast. I think a lot of organizations optimistically say speed of light without actually talking about light itself. They're embellishing quite a bit.
Yeah, exactly. So it's using that property, but the issue with light, because light can travel at great speeds, as you've intimated, but actually your issue is around how you get the light process and the digital process, because basically you get bottlenecks. So it's all very well the light going really quickly, but if you can't get that information into the digital and back from the digital, it doesn't matter. So you've got a limitation. So what we have done, our engineers and technologists are looking at how you can process data within the light element, that layer, before you come in and out of the digital. So, and to be fair, if your questions go any deeper, I'll need to bring in one of my technical colleagues, because that's kind of where my CFO hat kind of runs out in terms of detailed technical physical knowledge.
Fair enough. Yeah, it seems like with Optalysys, the light version is the full version, unlike most other products.
No, it is, and it's really exciting, because we in our lab, we've basically proven the technology that we need for that final version. So we literally have version 1, version 2, version 3, and we've done 7 different tape outs of this technology, and we've gone from this size to this size, so getting smaller and smaller, and so we just keep that going to the point where we will then build the chip that has digital layers, photonic layers, and combining them in that density that you need to build a chip.
Yeah. So you start with an absolutely brilliant technology, which is ahead of its time, revolutionary. This is very important. And then how is that technology being adapted into workflows so that people who are not tech heads essentially can get the gist of it and incorporate it into their company?
Yeah. I'm a very strong advocate of making something as close to plug and play as we can make it, because customers don't want hassle. FHE is really complicated. We employ cryptographers who are highly intelligent, PhDs, galore, but actually we want to make it easy for someone to buy our product, slot it into their data center, and for it to work. So we knew that our first product, which would be a digital FPGA product, needed to be enterprise ready, needed to be of a quality that our customer could plug it in and didn't need a PhD in cryptography to be able to make it work. So that's what we've just announced last week. So we will be launching at the end of Q3 a product that's called Light Locker Node, which is aimed at blockchain. And what it does, the greatness of blockchain is the kind of decentralized nature of it. But the problem of blockchain is its data is transparent. So you can, if you're on the blockchain, you can see every transaction and every piece of information. Now, some of that information, really, you shouldn't be able to see. So if I'm purchasing a house, should my home address be visible? Should the amount I'm paying for that transaction be visible? No. So what the Optalysys solution enables is that you can encrypt certain parts or all of the blockchain, and the blockchain can still operate in the same way, the same decentralized way as it does today. But the confidential information can be kept private and always protected. And that is when you look at kind of blockchain's great, but it needs that privacy to be able to go to the next level. So there are many leaders in the space saying when we've got privacy, and actually when we've got FHE that runs fast enough, then we can then see blockchain really move into many, many more use cases.
So you get the benefits of the immutability of blockchain without the transparency, which is a hacker's dream of being able to find out your home address among every other detail that's on that block.
Exactly. It's a horrible situation. But if you Google in France, there have been a number of incidences of people connected to cryptography, the cryptocurrency. People who are have clearly amassed a fortune in those areas, being kidnapped, and stories of people's fingers being cut off, and it's all because that information has become is freely available, and it's like, we need to have a privacy. We need to be able to have GDPR that works against those and other data regulations that works in those areas to protect people. For many, many reasons. But those incidents are horrible and need to be avoided.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you bring that nobility of teaching, because there is a nobility to teaching. Like, your heart was in the right place, but at the same time you stepped back and had a meta look at it and said, I don't want to end up the way these people are. And so I still want to have an impact on the world and have a legacy and do something noble, but not necessarily in this profession. I think that you bring that nobility to what you're doing now.
I mean, hopefully. What I do is important, and so there are many careers that I would have gone, nah, not really. So we are always keen. As the business, we look at a kind of CSR and how can we have an integrity about what we're doing, and how can we make sure that what we do is beneficial to people, to markets, or to the way we live.
Yeah, but it's interesting, because I think that a lot of times, if you ran in, right, and you saved somebody from a kidnapping, people would label you as a hero, right? Indisputably, they would say, Stuart, you're a hero. You saved somebody's life. But if you are part of a company that saves hundreds or even thousands of lives, saves kidnappings, people might not view it the same way. They'd be like, oh, well, you're a business person who has a business. But it's like, you've multiplied that impact 1,000-fold,
I mean, I think it's a really interesting point, because we see two main, if you really look at FHE, there are two things it does. One is you get security of data. So you kind of prevent data leaks, prevent hacking, make data more secure. So that's good. That's a tick. But actually what we also see is with FHE, things become possible that weren't possible before. So for example, if you're a drug company, you want to develop new drugs and take them to market as quickly as you can. Now, often drug trials are limited or take a long time because you're doing trials across borders, or there's different companies involved and people are reticent to share data. But with FHE, you allow yourself the new opportunity for collaboration to happen without fear of my IP being seen or stolen, or, I remove that risk. And so what I do is I then open up the ability for people to work together. And actually that should lead to quicker time for drug discovery, quicker time for those drugs to come through the testing process to get to market. And so, yes, we will sell FHE as this is a great security tool, but also let's look at the opportunities, the revenue opportunities, but also the, for the good of everyone, opportunities for new drugs to come to market. And there are many other examples along that line as well.
Yeah. Yeah, super critical stuff. So a lot of times when we're trying to market our own product, we do have to like explain what we do and what the benefits are to companies. So for the people listening to the podcast, for the people viewing this podcast, what are these benefits for them? The what's in it for me factor. When somebody like, why would a company want to work with you to do this?
Yeah. So, I mean, there are lots of different reasons. So, so one, you go, if you're, so blockchain, initially looking at kind of financial services, whether you're, running an encrypted blockchain or you're an exchange or you're a bank. Well, in the UK or in Europe, the DORA Act, came in at the beginning of this year. And that was saying, look, banks, you need to work out how you're going to keep data secure when it's being processed. So that's really so there's a legal drive that says, actually, I'm now being required to have better governance over that data. And certainly FHE helps you to tick that box and ticks it in a way that's better than any other things you can do. But then you're saying, actually, we are looking at energy consumption. So we know that the more and more data centers that are built, the energy requirements are massive. We know that the big hyperscalers are looking at, do I put a nuclear reactor next to my data centers? So there are some massive energy issues. And one of the benefits of using photonics is that its energy usage when compared to electronics is significantly less. So there is a very considerable energy efficiency climate benefit of using photonics rather than using an electrical digital chip on its own. So there are real benefits there. And we're now in a place where actually that security, if I'm a customer of Bank A or Bank B, I want to know that that bank values my data. And that bank is going to put in place the right controls and the right systems to make sure that my data isn't at risk of being hacked. And so I think as we are, moving into 2025 and we see hacking happening very often, that's a bigger and bigger important factor for companies to address.
I'm gonna pause right there. I'm pretty sure I got all that last thing, but it slowed down. And then it went to like hyperdrive for a moment. So I'm just gonna call a quick timeout.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I just ask, just in case?
Yeah,
just to double up. I'm going to ask you the same question. It was a brilliant answer and I loved it, but it did a weird glitchy thing. So
yeah, no, you went slightly strange on the screen. So yeah, do it.
Okay. A lot of companies need to be sold on the what's in it for me factor. Even if you've got this brilliant technology, we do have to market it to them. We do have to tell them, this is how we're able to help you. How are you able to help these companies?
Yeah, and there's a number of different ways to answer that question. So starting off, there are legal requirements which are come into play. So for example, in Europe, the DORA Act now requires banks to have security in place for when data is being processed. So that is a direct arrow towards using FHE. It's the best solution for that. And it basically gives you that confidence that data is secure. Then you're looking at, actually, if I'm an end customer, I'm, in this day and age where it's very easy for me to change banks, for example, well, actually, how well you look after my data, it becomes a more and more important thing. So if Bank A is saying, look, we have got this cryptography in place, this security in place, your data is really important to me, then actually that gives you a degree of a selling point over Bank B that may not be using FHE. And so basically, well, do I want to go with Bank A or Bank B? Well, I think if I'm a consumer and my data security is important, then that will inform my buying decision. And then importantly, as we get into the photonics solution, is the energy efficiency. So using a photonic solution, like the energy required to run that chip compared to running the same process on a digital chip, significant energy savings when you compare like for like. And that, in this day and age where, we have hyperscalers buying, or thinking about building nuclear reactors next to data centers, our energy consumption is a massive issue. And we need to think about ways in which we can reduce that. So all of those factors are important. And then you get into cost. And the reality is that, at the moment, if you want to run, FHE, it's very costly, it's very slow. You're probably using Nvidia H100, server racks. Well, when you look at the cost of operating, we will be more efficient, more effective than using an Nvidia solution.
Yeah. And you have a big launch coming up in Q3. So how do you envision the company growing over the next few years? You've got Optalysys, you have this beautiful technology. You're clearly going to launch something big. How can you connect with more people to scale your impact?
Yeah. So, I mean, we are, we believe in our technology and we believe in the opportunity. We know that we're in effectively a new market. So we're bringing new technology to a new market. So we believe that that market will be significant, and we believe that it's beginning to show. So it's important for us to show these proof points now. So saying we have a solution now in 2025 that will begin to answer some of these wants, these needs, these security issues. So 25 and 26 will be about seeding the market with our technology, showing customers using it, showing customers benefiting from it, and then enabling that to grow. And I think we do that initial commercial traction. We then execute on our product roadmap. So we go from our first product released now, published now, our second generation product, which will be our own digital chip, and that will come out at the end of next year. So we will then be sowing speed, acceleration, and that will mean that we're opening up the use cases. So basically, we've got an education piece to do. We're educating a market, we're building a market with other people working in the space, but then it's about, why does Optalysys acceleration, why does our product enable you to have confidence to use us? So basically, I want to be in a place where, in 12 months' time, I'm talking to major banks, worldwide banks, and, I'm in conversations with their blockchain teams around how they can use Optalysys solution in their stack. So that's why we built a product that had to be enterprise ready. I don't want to have here's an open source set of code, you can download it. Well, I can't sell that to a bank. I need an enterprise ready product. I need support and maintenance around that does what an enterprise customer wants. Because what we're doing, it comes back at the end of the day to my plug and play. We have to give a product that ticks the boxes, because it's just like, in the old days, you used to say no one got sacked for buying IBM. So we have to give a product and a reliability and build a brand that is like, if I buy Optalysys product, it's going to work. It's going to do what it says.
Absolutely. I mean, brilliant stuff. So all of the notes for where you can find how to connect are going to be down below. But Stuart, how can people best connect with you, best connect with Optalysys?
Yes, we are. So our website, optalysys.com, has loads of information on it. So if you're interested in finding out more about FHE, there's lots of information there, webinars and various, blogs, etc. We will be, if you're into blockchain, we will be in the blockchain. This may not come published in time, but we'll be at the EFCC conference in Cannes next week. So that's the 30th of June. But what we'll do, and you'll be seeing over the next weeks, the next months, you'll see, increased exposure to the product, increased exposure to the use cases, and increased testimonials of customers using our product and being able to report back about what it does and how well it works.
Yeah.
So so basically, website, find us on LinkedIn, got a very good LinkedIn presence, and connect with us in the usual ways.
And again, all those links are going to be right down below. Stuart, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. I really appreciate your expertise today.
Jules, thank you very much for having me. It's been good fun, and hope it's useful.
Yeah, absolutely.